Okay, let's have a look at the answers to these puzzles. First, let's tackle the easy one. White to play and draw. Can you remember the 5 ways to draw when you're not using chess clocks? Stalemate. That's when a player can't move any pieces and isn't in check. Weak army. That's when there aren't enough pieces left to trap the enemy king. 50 move rule. This is when a game goes on for 50 moves without a piece being taken or a pawn being moved. Repetition. This is when the same position occurs 3 times with the same player to move. Agreement. When the players agree to stop the game and call it a draw. And remember that if you can find a way to keep checking your opponent, then that will be a draw too, either by the 50 move rule, repetition, or agreement. It's called perpetual check. The ways to force a draw are stalemate and perpetual check. So let's have a look at this position. Black is winning easily, so white will be very happy to force a draw. The white pawn cannot move, so if white wants to get stalemate, white needs to give up the queen and get the black queen to move here so that the king is trapped in the corner. The black queen is pinned. The only way for black to save the queen is to take the white queen. And it's stalemate. In this position, white is winning by a queen, and there is no way for black to defend the g7 square. If white moves the queen here, it's checkmate. So black would be really happy with a draw. In this position, a sneaky draw might be possible because the king can't move and the pawns are blocked. Actually, the pawn on g6 is pinned, but the important thing is it can't move. If black can find some way of losing the rooks, then it will be a draw. What do you think? That's 1 rook lost. The white king must take it. Now it's time to get rid of the other rook. If white takes the rook, then it's stalemate. But white doesn't have to take the rook this time. But if white doesn't take the rook, then black just keeps on checking. It's either stalemate or perpetual check. Okay, time for our final puzzle, the hard puzzle. White to play and draw. Black has an extra knight and 6 pawns, so white will be very happy with a draw, especially as black threatens to give checkmate with a rook. Fortunately, it's white to move, but white needs to act fast. You probably noticed that the white king can't move. The black queen attacks these squares, and the black rook covers the first rank. Can white find a way to lose the queen and rook? Let's start with the rook. Now the rook can try to be taken. If the black king doesn't take the rook, then the rook keeps checking and the game is a draw. So black takes the rook. And now white repeats the trick with the queen. Except this time the job is easier. The black king has to take the queen, and it's stalemate. Well done if you worked out the answers to any of those puzzles.